The Byzantine Farmers' Law, formerly known as the Farmers' Law or Nomos Georgikos, stands out as one of the most remarkable attempts in Byzantine legal history to address the realities of rural life. Unlike the grand codes of emperors like Justinian, which primarily codified urban and imperial law, the Farmers' Law targeted the backbone of Byzantine society, the peasantry. This was a population that not only produced the empire's food but also formed the basis of its military and economic power. It is in these pages that we see the Byzantine state consciously intervening to protect smallholders, organize land use, and prevent the erosion of village communities. The law itself emerged in the 10th century, during the reign of Emperor Constantine VII Porphyrogenitus. This was a period of both recovery and consolidation for Byzantium, following decades of military upheaval and territorial loss. The empire needed a stable and productive rural population, not just for taxation, but also to ensure the continuity of local social structures. What makes the Farmers' Law particularly interesting is that it doesn't merely punish theft or enforce obligations, it constructs a legal framework for communal landholding, inheritance rules, and protections against exploitation by wealthy landowners or absentee elites. A central principle of the Farmers' Law was protecting the rural commune, koinos. In Byzantium, many villages operated collectively, sharing irrigation systems, pastures, and even arable land in rotation. The law recognized these arrangements and sought to prevent their dissolution. One fascinating feature is its stance against land fragmentation. The law discouraged the sale of small plots outside the community because this could undermine the village's cohesion and weaken local defense and productivity. Peasants were given legal rights to contest encroachment by more powerful neighbors or local aristocrats, a rare acknowledgement of peasant autonomy in medieval Europe. Another innovative aspect was the law's approach to inheritance and family rights. It attempted to balance the interests of heirs with the need to maintain productive landholdings. For example, in situations where a peasant died leaving multiple heirs, the land could not be divided in ways that would make individual plots non-viable. Instead, provisions were made for collective management or leasing arrangements, ensuring that the land remained productive and the village intact. This shows a strikingly modern understanding of the economy of scale and the importance of communal stability over short-term individual gains. The Farmers' Law also reflects a protective attitude toward peasants' basic rights. It explicitly punished usurious practices, illegal seizures, and forced labor beyond traditional obligations. Moreover, the law required local authorities to maintain records of land tenure and to ensure that disputes could be adjudicated fairly. While enforcement was uneven, after all, powerful landowners often had more influence than distant officials. The very existence of these rules suggests that the state recognized the potential danger of neglecting rural populations. In essence, the law formalized a social contract, peasants remained bound to the land, but the state guaranteed protection against exploitation. One of the most striking aspects of the Farmers' Law is how it bridges Roman legal tradition with Byzantine reality. Whereas the Roman Codex Justinianus emphasized private property rights and abstract legal principles, the Farmers' Law is intensely practical. Its articles deal with questions like who can plow communal land, how irrigation rights are shared, and how a widow may continue cultivating her late husband's land. Legal provisions are often framed in the language of custom and precedent, acknowledging local practices and integrating them into the formal legal code. This combination of imperial authority and local custom is emblematic of Byzantine law in general but particularly pronounced in rural legislation. The law also had an implicit economic rationale. By stabilizing village life, it ensured a steady flow of taxes and agricultural produce to urban centers. In times of war, this also translated to reliable provisioning for the army. Peasants who could cultivate their plots without fear of eviction or predatory neighbors were more likely to be productive and loyal. The Farmers' Law, therefore, can be seen as a strategic tool of statecraft, securing both social cohesion and economic output. Interestingly, the Farmers' Law occasionally clashed with the interests of powerful aristocrats and the growing pronoia system, where military elites were granted rights to collect taxes or profits from certain lands. The law's insistence on communal rights and protections for smallholders sometimes limited elite encroachment, even if enforcement depended on local authorities sympathetic to peasants. In this way, the farmer's law embodies a tension between central authority, local communities, and the emerging feudal-like aristocracy, a tension that would define Byzantine rural society for centuries. The text of the farmer's law is also revealing in its tone and style. Written in Greek, it uses straightforward, often prescriptive language rather than philosophical or rhetorical flourishes. Each section is pragmatic, focused on resolving disputes, preventing abuses, and maintaining productive land use. For historians, this makes it a treasure trove of information about daily life in Byzantine villages, from the cultivation of wheat and olives to the management of livestock and communal resources. In summary, the Byzantine farmer's law is a window into an empire that was not only concerned with grand diplomacy and military conquest but also deeply invested in the stability of its rural communities. By protecting village communes, regulating inheritance, curbing exploitation, and codifying local customs, the law demonstrates the Byzantine state's awareness that its strength rested on the productivity and cohesion of ordinary peasants. Far from being a relic of antiquity, the law offers lessons in governance, social contract, and the protection of community resources, issues that remain relevant even today.